48, the Daytona 500, and the U.S. Open Championship. The world's biggest events are on Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports!
Welcome to the Chevrolet World Series pregame show on Fox.
Grass, dirt, or even concrete, where hours are spent together perfecting a throw, and where we make lasting memories with those dearest to us. It's where the greatest in the game began their journey to this game. Tonight, we watch our beloved game with wide eyes and thunderous cheers, as old memories from when we were young rush back. That's the game. For the 109th time, the path from the grass, the dirt, and the concrete has led to this. With the strength of a city and the resolve of these teams culminating here. The World Series on Fox starts right now.
A perfect setting for some postseason baseball. This time last year, this great ballpark, Fenway, was empty. But a new manager and a whole lot of facial hair spurred a worst-to-first turnaround that has Red Sox Nation in a frenzy. There's going to be a sea of red out there tonight as the high-powered Cardinals come to town. The Cards look for their third championship in 8 years. Familiar foes face off. It's the Cardinals and the Red Sox, and it all starts tonight. Game 1, only on Fox. And hello, everybody. I'm Joe Buck, and I am so happy you're joining us for what's sure to be a fantastic World Series. It's the fourth championship meeting of these two great franchises. The last, of course, in 2004, when the Red Sox broke their World Series drought. And this is how it should be, isn't it? A showdown of the best two teams the sport has to offer. Two teams that led the majors with 97 wins. Two teams that prove nightly that if you want to beat them, you better pack a lunch. The Cardinals bring their fireballers like Adam Wainwright, Michael Wacha to face a Red Sox offense that led the league in runs scored and dirt-stained uniforms. Those are the teams playing. And we've got a great team covering the game. Aaron Andrews and Ken Rosenthal will check in throughout the night. And in the booth with me for his record 24th World Series broadcast is Tim McCarver. Nobody's done it more, and nobody's done it better. Plus, Matt Vasgersian and the gang from the MLB Network will be with us all series long. Why don't we check in with them right now? Matt, all yours.
Joe, thanks. Let me introduce that gang here with Harold Reynolds, former National League MVP Jimmy Rollins, two-time American League All-Star A.J. Pierzynski. Game 1, so much star power in this World Series, and with Game 1 as such, you get both team staff aces. And a guy for the Cardinals, Jimmy, you've faced many times, Adam Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright, a great pitcher, a big game pitcher who likes to pitch in these moments. And what you can expect from him is him to draw X's all across the plate. And that means his release point's the same on all his pitches, but the ball's going to cut, the ball's going to sink, and then he's going to follow that up with the curveball, a big right-handed curveball that just falls off the table. And as a hitter, that's something you have to be conscious of, along with his velocity. So he makes it tough for opposing hitters.
Well, if you're talking about Adam Wainwright, it sounds like you're talking about Johnny Lester, except left-handed. Johnny Lester, cutter, curveball, he just crosses the plate. He throws it into a lefty, into a righty, away to a lefty, away to a righty. It's amazing. His curveball is his pitch. If his curveball's on, the Cardinals struggled against lefties all year. If he's on, he has his cutter and curveball, Cardinals in trouble.
That was beautiful, boys. Pitchers, no doubt, dominate the fall, but here in this ballpark, the biggest star is Fenway Park. And it's that big green wall out there in left field. It will come into play. The ball hits different off the wall, the top part, the bottom part. You see the panels down there. It's going to come in as the biggest home field advantage right now in the sport.
You got that cool fall air in the atmosphere here. A lot of red with Cardinal red and Red Sox red being displayed throughout the ballpark. It just feels like fall with a World Series back here at Fenway for the third time in a decade. With that, we're ready for good baseball. Joe, we'll send it back down to you on the field.
All right, Matt, guys, thank you. Last time the Cardinals faced the Red Sox in the World Series, Mike Matheny was the starting catcher. This time he's the manager. Let's go out to Aaron Andrews, who's with him right now.
Joe, thanks so much. Mike, realistically, what can you expect from Alan Craig tonight back in the lineup after being out for a month?
Well, we've liked everything we've seen. We put him through the test at home. He saw live pitching. We needed to see that his timing was right. Obviously, the health, he needed to get the go-ahead from our training staff. The medical people are comfortable with him going out there. Now, whether or not he can go full speed, that's a different question. We're not expecting that. But as far as his at-bats go, which is what we needed him for all season long. The guy takes big at-bats, drive-in runs. Right now he looks good, so we're going to throw him right back into the fire, put him in the 4-hole where he belongs.
All right, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, Joe, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Mike. Before becoming a staple of late-night television, Conan O'Brien grew up just down the road from Fenway and Brookline. He's clean-shaven now, but not long ago he experimented with his own beard phase. And he's got plenty of opinions on the beards of his favorite team, the Sox.
I'm really sick of people saying that all the Red Sox beards are the same. Each one is distinct and special in its own way, like a snowflake or a Nick Cage performance. Let's start with Pedroia. It says, I'm a badass, but I also want to be trusted at airport security. And for the even more mild-mannered, there's the Ellsbury. Starting below the nose, Ellsbury's pretty much Alan Rickman from Die Hard. Then there's the Saltalamacchia. Saltalamacchia will one day weave his beard into a permanent catcher's mask. Finally, the Napoli. Mike Napoli's beard makes the cast of Duck Dynasty look like the cast of Toddlers and Tiaras. So, go Sox, and good night.
The all-new Chevy Silverado at the Silverado versus All event. There's a look at your starters. Adam Wainwright's been hot since September, but he's still looking for his first postseason road win. And the last time John Lester took the mound in a World Series, the Sox clinched it all in Colorado in '07. Seeing the Cardinals make a run the postseason is becoming more of a late October tradition than Halloween. This is the 4th World Series appearance in 10 seasons and 19th appearance in franchise history. But for one star, this is new territory. And when it comes to playoff baseball, few players have ever been as productive as Carlos Beltran. Game-saving defense, walk-off hits. And that was just game 1 of the NLCS. But as great as he's been in the postseason, there's one place the 8-time All-Star hasn't been able to display his talents, the World Series. But tonight, after 16 seasons in the big leagues, Beltran finally gets his chance.
This has been my 15 years in baseball. As a player, you know, you work so hard through all your career to get to this point. Never had the opportunity to play in a World Series.
Giants have won the pennant.
3 years, I fall short by one game and, you know, never got the opportunity to be there.
The Cardinals are going to the World Series.
Breaking ball struck him out, and the Cardinals have won the pennant.
I wasn't going to let one moment control my whole career as a ball player. So, you know, I decided to move on and continue to work hard to get to this point where I am right now.
It becomes extra special when you start talking about a guy who's been such a great teammate, has had such a great career, and one of the few things that he's missing on his wall is that championship.
This is a guy that we all have a lot of respect for. He's really just powered our offense through the postseason so far.
As great a career as he's had, he needs to have that ring to top it off.
We always dream about being in this position, about being a champion and being the last team standing. It will be something that I can remember for the rest of my life and look at my finger and say, you know what, I won a World Series ring.
At 45 games, Beltran was tied with Torrey Hunter for the most postseason games all time without a World Series appearance. I'm sure he's happy to relinquish that crown here tonight. The Red Sox have been a source of pride for Boston for over a century. But the team has never shown its importance more than after the bombings at this year's Boston Marathon. On April 15th, less than an hour following a walk-off win here at Fenway, an unthinkable attack left the city scared, angry, and heartbroken. Days after the tragedy, it was the city's beloved team that started the healing process and reminded everyone that through all of the adversity, Boston would remain strong.
I just remember we were going to Cleveland, getting on the bus. Will Middlebrook, sitting a couple seats ahead, was just said, "Did you hear what's going on?"
It was shocking what happened, getting caught off guard like we all did.
We've all been affected by it. We all know people who were running that day. We know people who were injured that day.
Won't you sing me back home? Sing me back home. Sing me back home. Won't you sing to me?
I don't think in all my years in sports I've ever seen players respond to a civic situation like this.
There were groups that split up and went to the area hospitals to see those victims that were suffering from the tragedy that took place.
We just play baseball. We're not out there saving lives, but one thing that we can do to help people is give them a place to come and heal a little bit.
We feel responsible to do all we can to pick everybody up.
We really wanted to represent our city, and we do that every day when we play, but we wanted the city to be with us everywhere we went.
Johnny Gomes and Saltalamacchia came to me with an idea of a jersey to hang in the dugout that night.
It hasn't gone out of sight, out of mind. Just about every single home game, we've given a tribute to the victims.
To the first responders, the doctors, the nurses, the firefighters, the police officers.
I definitely carry them on my sleeve every night, and I go out there with the attitude that, you know what, Boston strong and be strong. That's what it's all about.
We still do take moments of silence and still tribute the 4 lives that are no longer with us, but definitely earn their wings and are above Fenway and above Boston, above their family, watching down on us, and are still with us, every step of the way.
Just like as we were all reminded after 9/11, baseball, this great sport, can help heal. And it did here at Fenway. It did here in Boston. First pitch, fast approaching. And when we come back, we'll say hello to the players. They take the field next. Stay with us. now for the introduction of tonight's starting lineups. Let's join public address announcer Henry Mahegan.
Now, please welcome the National League champion St. Louis Cardinals manager, number 22, Mike Matheny. And his starting lineup. Leading off, the second baseman, number 13, Matt Carpenter. Batting second, the right fielder, number 3, Carlos Beltran. Hitting third, the left fielder, number 7, Matt Holliday. Batting fourth, the designated hitter, number 21, Alan Craig. Batting fifth, the catcher in the bullpen, number 4, Yadier Molina. Batting sixth, the third baseman, number 23, David Freese. Hitting seventh, the first baseman, number 53, Matt Adams. Batting eighth, the center fielder, number 43, Shane Robinson. Batting ninth, the shortstop, number 38, Pete Kozma. And the starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 50, Adam Wainwright. And now, your American League Championship manager, number 53, John Farrell. And his starting lineup. Leading off in center field, number 2, Jacoby Ellsbury. Batting second, in right field, number 18, Shane Victorino. Hitting third, the second baseman, number 15, Dustin Pedroia. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter, number 34, David Ortiz. Hitting fifth, the first baseman, number 12, Mike Napoli. Batting sixth, in left field, number 5, Johnny Gomes. Batting seventh, the third baseman, number 72, Xander Bogaerts. Hitting eighth, the shortstop, number 7, Stephen Drew. Batting 9, the catcher in the bullpen, number 3, David Ross. And tonight's starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 31, John Lester. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather tonight on baseball's biggest stage, we are honored to dedicate Game 1 of the World Series through Major League Baseball's Welcome Back Veterans program to the men and women of our military and to our veterans who have served our nation with bravery and honor. Exemplifying the extraordinary courage and steadfast commitment of those who serve are 3 distinguished soldiers who join us here this evening. These men have received our nation's highest military decoration, the Medal of Honor. In recognition of their acts of courage during their service in Afghanistan, displays of valor that saved the lives of many of those who fought alongside them. As we take a moment to extend our gratitude to all of our military men and women who have given so much to defend our liberty, please join us in welcoming these American heroes. Captain William Swenson, Staff Sergeant Salvatore Junta, and Staff Sergeant Clinton Romachet. Gentlemen, your bravery and heroism inspire us all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, please rise and remove your caps. To honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome a multi-platinum recording artist who has sold over 50 million records and won 9 Grammy Awards, the one and only Mary J. Blige.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the
A beautiful voice on a beautiful night. When we come back, Tim and I set up Game 1 from the booth. Number 1 of the 2013 World Series, the Cardinals and the Red Sox. Now, welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. Let's look at this series. We've talked about it, and it's been written about. These are the two best teams in baseball. I don't think there's any arguing that. Look at it from the Cardinals' perspective. They got to 3-1 advantage last year in the NLCS. They blew that advantage, lost to the Giants, and so they were close a year ago. They're back, and now they're in the World Series here in 2013. But look at the Boston Red Sox. Last year, they lost 93 games. They were in last place in the AL East. They fire a manager. They bring in a new guy. They add 7 free agents. They get an A in chemistry because as they come in, they're the best in the American League. And partner, let's look at specifically for the Cardinals here tonight. Their biggest run producer hasn't been available for over a month now. And when you think about it, what a lift to this lineup for St. Louis to get Alan Craig back tonight.
The last time Alan Craig played in a major league game was September 4th, exactly 7 weeks ago. And, you know, I know he's played in a lot of simulated games, Joe, but this is not a simulated game tonight. This is game 1 of the World Series, and he will be hitting cleanup. And as you saw with that graphic, he is the best in the business at hitting with runners in scoring position. Right. So now the other side. The Red Sox have the guy they want on the mound here in game 1 because of the delay. So now they've got the left-hander John Lester. The Cardinals against left-handed starters were 4 games under the 500 mark. That's an advantage for Boston. The Boston Red Sox offensively had the top run-producing team in all of baseball in 2013, but here tonight, they have to contend with a knee-buckling curveball from Adam Wainwright. That's what sets Adam Wainwright apart from most guys because he starts his curve from a higher starting point than most pitchers. The reason? He's 6'7", and the higher the top, the bigger the drop. As that curveball is something with which the Red Sox will have to contend tonight. So there you go. That's the matchup here tonight. The Boston Red Sox, the St. Louis Cardinals could not be any better. It's the excitement of the World Series. Here comes game 1.
It's every player's dream, the chance to play in a World Series. For some, it happens before you know it, while others spend their entire career trying to get there. The roar of the crowd, losing yourself completely in a moment, celebrating with teammates. Relish it. Treasure every minute of it. You never know when it could be your last. It's the Fall Classic.
MasterCard, preferred card of Major League Baseball since 1997. John Lester, the left-hander, 15-game winner during the regular season. led the Red Sox in wins, starts, strikeouts, innings pitched. He gets the ball tonight in Game 1. The starting lineup for the Cardinals brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Matt Carpenter leads off at second base. Then it's Beltran, his first World Series appearance, batting second and right. Matt Holliday, Alan Craig, the DH, Yadier Molina, the catcher, David Freese, Matt Adams, the rookie first baseman, Shane Robinson gets the start in center. John Jay on the bench tonight. Pete Kozma is batting at the number 9 spot. He's the shortstop. The opening pitch is brought to you tonight by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. And as you look at the numbers for John Lester, realize for coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune into Fox Deportes. 2-1 this postseason with a 2.33 ERA and just under 20 innings pitched.
John Lester's saying that this year he's had more fun than any other year. Why? A dynamic second half. Jared Saltalamacchia, the other catcher, said he's staying out of the middle of the plate. We'll talk about that early because that's what John Lester did his first game against Detroit, but not the second game, Game 5, in which he started.
Matt Carpenter led the National League in hits with 199. He's got only 7 this postseason. That's a strike, and the count 1-1. Carpenter with his 7 hits and 42 at bats. He's got 2 RBIs, so hitting 167. Batting in front of Carlos Beltran. Lester can bring it. Ground ball left side. Stephen Drew with a backhand low off. Home plate umpire tonight is John Hirschbeck. He's the crew chief with Mark Wegner at first. Dana DeMuth at second. Paul Emmel, Bill Miller. Jim Joyce down the right field line. Having to deal with the quirky outfield and the ground rules that come with the quirkiness here at Fenway Park. Here's Carlos Beltran, who has just been unstoppable no matter where he's been. He's bounced around in his big league career now during the month of October.
Nothing quirky about his postseason numbers.
First pitch is fouled away. Strike 1. Switch hitting right fielder and a guy with 16 career postseason home runs. Here's the 0-1. Up there ready to swing, and John Lester is pumping home fastballs. That 195. It's 0-2.
Bad swing first pitch, good swing second pitch.
Beltran is hitting just .256 this postseason, 10 out of 39. But with runners in scoring position, 6 out of 8. Big reason why the Cardinals are here, as he's out in front of that pitch. The free agent to be will stay at the plate with an 0-2 count. There's Mike Matheny, who last year in his first year as manager of the Cardinals got St. Louis to within a win of an appearance in the World Series, and here he is year 2 at Fenway Park. Here's the 0-2. 2 out. Two up, 2 down. A lot of talk all day about the weather. Our weather update tonight is brought to you by Disney's Frozen. And this must be the World Series with a graphic that looks like that. It's 48 degrees, humidity 46%. The wind is down, and that's why on a night where it's just under 50, it's pretty pleasant here at Fenway Park.
That graphic looked like it belonged in MoMA.
It's supposed to get colder as we go along here tonight, and that's up the middle. Matt Holliday is on with a 2-out base hit into center. Cardinals were ready here in the first inning to go up there swinging, and Holliday is aboard. That's his 12th hit of the postseason.
Beltran swinging first pitch, Holliday first pitch. You won't see that, I don't think, from the Red Sox against Adam Wainwright tonight. They're a very pensive team, first time through the lineup, not the Cardinals.
So a 2-out hit keeps it going for the DH Alan Craig, and you said it in our opening, and the Cardinals have said it. Alan Craig has been out since September 4th. He had a sprained left foot. It's no small injury. And while he's played in simulated games, you cannot simulate Game 1 of the World Series.
No.
And I think he was ready to swing. 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Alan Craig, here he is, rounding the bag. Umpire Laz Diaz was nearby. Craig had to go around him. It was in Cincinnati in the 4th inning of a 16-inning Cardinal victory. And the Cardinals have been without their big run producer since the 4th of September, but he's back tonight. And the count 0-2.
The Red Sox are very familiar with the injury that Alan Craig has. The reason is Andrew Miller, their fine left-handed middle reliever, had a similar injury. Saw Andrew before the game. He said the difference between Craig and my foot, mine was operated on, Alan's wasn't.
Holiday at first with 2 out. Down and in, ball 1.
Boy, that's a perfect 0-2 pitch by Lester. Not only throwing hard, but hitting outside and inside spots. Just misses off the plate. Cut fastball, cutting in below the knees of Craig.
First at bat at Fenway Park for Alan Craig. Waits on a 1-2. Broken bat. Easy for Pedroia after a half. Game 1, Fenway Park, World Series. The 109th World Series. There's no score. Give you 15% or more on car insurance. There's Adam Wainwright, the right-hander, 6'7", 235, 32 years old, grew up in the Sea Island, Georgia area. Starting lineup for Boston, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Jacoby Ellsbury leads off in center. Shane Victorino with a slam in Game 6, bats second. Dustin Pedroia hits third. Then David Ortiz, the DH. Mike Napoli at first. Johnny Gomes in left. Xander Bogaerts, 21 years old, at third. Stephen Drew is the shortstop, batting 8th, and catching and hitting 9th is David Ross. And here's the right-hander, the leader of this staff, just inked to a new 5-year contract extension at the beginning of the year. It's Adam Wainwright.
And as we said in the opening, his height helps his curveball. He's 6'7". That's tied for the tallest pitcher in World Series history. Randy Johnson and 6'8" Doug Fister were taller than Adam. From a closer to a starter, he was a closer for the Cardinals. Helped put them into the World Series to beat the Tigers back in 2006.
Here's Jacoby Ellsbury leading it off. 16 out of 40 this postseason. So he's hitting 400. And while Beltran is headed into free agency, so is Ellsbury. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0 as that misses upstairs. Here's an example of a guy 6'7" at an old ballpark, banging his head on the roof of the dugout.
Disadvantages to being that tall.
Fenway Park, been here since 1912. That's fouled right side. The current ownership group here with the Boston Red Sox, with John Henry, they've done such a great job of squeezing so many seats into this ballpark. Tom Werner, Larry Lucchino, what a job they've done. They have made this still one of the most beautiful ballparks to come visit. That's on the outside corner, and the count 2-2.
You know what, Joe? They made a national treasure more of a treasure.
And wherever there was a spot, there are now seats. Drew just under 3 million here this season. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball fouled right side. Fourth time these two franchises have met during the World Series. 1946, 1967. 2004. And a 4-game sweep after the Red Sox got up off the mat against the Yankees in the ALCS. Here's a 2-2. Over with Lowe, full count. The top 3 in this Red Sox lineup love to run.
92 stolen bases of the 123 the Red Sox had this year.
It was 2-0. Now it's 3-2. Ellsbury takes a walk. Look at the dimensions of Fenway Park. 315 into left with the 37-foot high wall. The Green Monster here in Boston. 17 feet high in center. Look at that 420 spot in that corner out in right center. And then right down the line, it's only a 3-foot high wall right there at the pesky pole.
And on cue, it gives Shane Victorino all sorts of problems this year. His injury problem started running into that wall, that low riding wall on May 12th against Toronto.
So now that matchup, as you look at that wall in right, the matchup between the guy behind the plate, Yadier Molina, the guy at first base, Jacoby Ellsbury, who stole 52 bases this season to lead baseball. But Wainwright is quick to the plate, and Yadier Molina is the best in the game at cutting down potential base stealers.
42% cost stealing this year. I couldn't help but think, you know, with Victorino taking that curve, the last pitch he saw was a curveball.
And he dumped it over the wall and left.
Second grand slam in the postseason of his career.
Sometimes it doesn't matter who you have behind the plate. You know this better than anybody. If the pitcher doesn't give the catcher a chance, Adam Wainwright gives his catcher a chance.
Yes.
When guys take off. He's quick. That's on the inside corner. Good pitch. And the count 1-2. Shane Victorino talking to John Hirschbeck.
Victorino crowds the plate. And that pitch inside, veering in on Victorino. He thought it was inside. Looked like it had the plate.
So the conversation with John Hirschbeck, who is umpiring in his 4th World Series. Now the 1-2 from Wainwright. Line drive into left, right at Holiday. 1 on, 1 out. Victorino hit it hard, but right at number 7, and we give you the Ford keys to the game.
For the Cardinals, make Lester throw to the middle of the plate. They tried to do that at the top of the first inning. For the Red Sox, change your pattern and not take the first pitches off them. The last game the Red Sox played, they took 10 straight hitters, took the first pitch. 10 straight. Actually 11 straight, because Pedroia was the first batter that swung at the first pitch, and that was that foul ball that he hit about 4 inches down the left field line.
But over the wall, it didn't travel 4 inches. It was foul by 4 inches.
Right, right. Did I make it sound like it went 4 inches?
I just want to clarify, that wouldn't be that impressive of a foul ball. 1 on, 1 out. Pedroia at the plate, and he takes a strike.
First 3 hitters have taken pitches for the Red Sox.
This was not 4 inches. Maybe 4 inches foul on what was nearly a 3-run home run for Pedroia. That was in game 6. That's outside. Ball and a strike. Pedroia during the regular season at .301. Had a tear in a ligament in his left thumb that he suffered on opening day. Didn't complain about it. The power numbers were down, but this is one of the toughest players in any lineup in any sport. Dustin Pedroia.
Couldn't agree more.
1 on, 1 out. Strike 2. good pitch from Adam Wainwright.
That was the curveball and a beauty. Might have been outside. Pedroia went to Arizona State, as you see the grip on that curve. And a scout told him when he was ready to sign, we'd draft you in the higher round, but you're too short. If you were 3 inches taller, we'd draft you. So said so thought the Rookie of the Year in 2007 and MVP in 2008.
And truth be told, when Pedroia first got here, and I'm sure Terry Francona is watching this game after a great year with Cleveland. He was Pedroia's first manager. He showed up, Pedroia, and Francona thought, who is this guy? 5'8", 165 pounds. He swings like he's a right-handed hitting David Ortiz. He didn't think he could handle it at first. Well, Terry Francona became one of Pedroia's biggest fans.
First 5 weeks of his career, Pedroia was hitting 170.
Here's a 2-2. And to center field, a base hit. And it's 2 on, 1 out here in the first inning for the Red Sox in game 1.
And by the way, he had 283 with 2 strikes on him this year. That was second in the American League, getting on top of that high cutter from Wainwright.
And with 2 on and 1 out, the batter will be David Ortiz, who had just 2 hits in the ALCS. One was a blue pit. The other tied game 2 in the 8th inning with 2 out here at Fenway against the Tigers. And Joaquin Benoit. But Ortiz hitting just 178 over his last 24 postseason games. Shifted on the infield as ball 1 rides up and away from Wainwright. Here's a 1-0 on the inside corner, ball and a strike. David Ortiz and Yadier Molina right behind him, the holdovers from that 2004 World Series matchup. Ortiz coming into his own with the Red Sox. Molina was a rookie catcher with the Cardinals. In that series, the Red Sox scored in the first inning of every game,
sweeping the Cardinals. Mike Matheny, the manager of the Cardinals, was the catcher for the Cardinals in the first 3 games of that series.
Here's a 1-1. Able to lay off the curveball from Wainwright. It's 2-1. Ortiz in that World Series was 4 out of 13 with a home run and 4 RBIs. The 2-1. Can they turn it? Out at second. Now they're going to say out.
Oh, I don't think so, Joe.
I don't either.
I think the Cardinals got a huge break.
It's going to be first and third, 2 out. Let's watch.
Oh, no.
There's
not
no
even
way.
close. No way. No way.
John Farrell is out arguing with the second base umpire. That's Dana DeMuth. And DeMuth's call immediately was that Cosma dropped it, taking the ball out of his glove. He never had it.
No chance. Nope. Immediately, John Farrell comes out to argue the play. That's something, by the way, you cannot review. I think John Farrell is asking Dana DeMuth to get help. That's a huge difference. Instead of bases loaded and 1 out, it's first and third and 2 out.
Here it is, regular speed. The umpires are getting together. And you could see John Farrell saying, that's all I'm asking. He's asking for help. The question is, will one of these umpires overrule Dana DeMuth with that call at second base?
That's right. And they should. Next year, of course, would be challenging that play because replay in baseball will change dramatically for the 2014 season.
Well, if they change this call, then it'll be Mike Matheny out to argue.
Right.
Farrell standing there on the infield watching this meeting. And again, it's either first and third, 2 out, or bases loaded, 1 out, with Napoli coming up. And they're going to put the runner back. And here comes Mike Matheny. The runner is Pedroia. The bases are going to be loaded with 1 out. And we've got controversy here before we've even settled in.
Well, the umpires got the play right. There is no way that Cosma is taking the ball out of the glove. Off the end of the glove. The ball is never in the pocket.
In the rule book, it says release is supposed to be voluntary and intentional. And there's the reaction of Yadier Molina as the umpires got together and overruled the call of the veteran umpire Dana DeMuth at second base.
Yeah, he never caught the ball. It was off leather, but off the webbing of the glove. Never in the webbing.
Have you ever seen, I'll ask you this, have you ever seen in your experience umpires getting together to overrule on that specific play?
No.
I have not either. And I think that would be Matheny's argument here. They get the call right, but to overrule in this case when clearly DeMuth had a clear look at the play as opposed to somebody having a better look, I think that's what Mike Matheny would argue.
Yeah, and what else are you going to overrule in this series? That would be Mike's argument. If you overrule that, then you're opening up Pandora's box. But clearly, that was not in the act of throwing to first base. The umpires ultimately got it right.
It goes down as a fielder's choice, E6. Remember, because of the shift, the infielders were in different positions than they typically would be with David Ortiz at the plate. That's why they were out of alignment. And what would typically be a routine double play was made a little more difficult. But Cosma just flat out missed the toss. And now the bases are loaded, 1 out for Napoli, who takes ball 1 inside.
What Pete Cosma had to do on that play, since he was to the right side of second base, he had to circle second base and get in a position to throw it to first because Ortiz is not a fast runner. They did have a chance for a double play, by the way, but booted by Cosma.
Now a visit to the mound as Molina goes out. An error committed by Pete Cosma here in the first inning. And let's take a look at the play from behind home plate.
Look at Cosma. Cosma's got to circle back, get in a position with his right foot on the bag, and make the throw to first base. I think they would have had Ortiz had the play been made cleanly by Pete.
The Red Sox have a chance here. With the bases loaded, 1 out to do damage in the first inning against Adam Wainwright. Two and 0. The Cardinals had the second best fielding percentage in the National League defensively during the regular season. That is just their 4th error of this postseason. Second for Cosma. Here's a 2-0. And is into left center field. Down to the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Pedroia. Here comes Ortiz. 3-0 Boston in the first.
Napoli was on the Texas Rangers in 2011. When the Cardinals came back to win that series, Mike Napoli has said since then that he's thought about it every day. Good way to erase that memory with 3 RBIs and a double for Napoli here in the first.
And Big David Ortiz made it all the way around from first. Napoli with that headbutt, as we've seen him do this postseason with Arnie Baylor. So a 3-0 Red Sox lead here in the first inning. Still only 1 out, and the batter will be Johnny Gomes.
Adam Wainwright falling behind 2-0. Napoli waiting for it. What an ideal hitting position for Napoli. Taking the first pitch. In fact, up to this point, every hitter's taken the first 2 pitches. So we've got Wainwright's pitch count up to 24, number 25 coming. Here's the 0-1. Ball and a strike. He's more than just a good luck charm as he grounds one to Adams, who goes to the bag. 2 out. Over to third is Napoli, with Xander Bogaerts coming up. John Farrell, who's managing in his first World Series, made his presence felt on that call at second base, went out there and argued with DeMuth. The umpires got together, reversed the call. Bases loaded for Napoli, and he unloaded him on a 2-0 pitch. And now with a runner at third, 2 down. It's Xander Bogaerts. Strike 1. Turned 21 years old. Think about that, 21 years old on October 1st, 22 days ago. He has shown remarkable patience here in the postseason. On the outside corner now, he's in the hole 0-2. He's reached base 8 of 11 plate appearances. He's got 3 hits and 5 walks. Here's the 0-2. Ball 1. Breaking ball is up. We're hearing from down on the field that when all the umpires got together, which is what John Farrell asked him to do, they unanimously said in that meeting that it was a mistake. And they fixed it. The 2-2, a strikeout ends the inning, but not before big damage. And a little controversy here in the first inning of game 1. Initially called and out. The reversal of the call. Napoli did the damage. 3-0 Boston after 1 in game 1. Red Sox and Cardinals met, and the World Series leads it off.
Ball one from Lester. Tim Molina has gone from a brilliant catcher and a game manager to somebody who, whatever offense he provided, you just lived with, and it was icing on this great cake of a guy who could handle a game from behind the plate. Look at these numbers from 04 to 06, a 238 hitter, all the way to what he's done the last three.
Just remarkable, because it's tough for a catcher to improve offensively because he's got his pitchers to worry about. That's why you rarely see a catcher hit 238 his first 3 years in the major leagues and then improve to being over a 300 hitter. It's one of the toughest things in the game to do because your first responsibility is with your pitching staff.
Strikeout starts the second, and Molina wheels his way out of there.
That's that cutter on the outside part. We talked about the Cardinals having to make John Lester use the middle of the plate to get guys out. That was a wicked cutter to get Molina a strike also.
That reaction caught the attention of John Hirschbeck, the home plate umpire, and now Molina is going to have to go sit in front of Hirschbeck when Wainwright's out on the mound. Here's David Freese.
Yeah, catchers can't argue like other position players can.
Here's the 0-1. Freese, who was, I guess if you want to pick one guy as to why Mike Napoli, who had the 3-run double in the bottom of the first inning, didn't win a ring with the Rangers in 2011, Freese would be the guy. The 1-1. Strike two. David Freese rescued the Cardinals in Game 6 with a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run triple to right that tied the game, and then eventually won that game in the 11th with a home run. He chipped in Game 7. That's strike three.
Same pitch, a little higher than the one to Molina. Look at David Ross sitting outside. That's a cut fastball from Lester, and he is sharp this inning.
We've seen Lester now third start we've watched him. We saw the 2 in the ALCS. He already looks better tonight and more crisp than he did against the Tigers.
He was good against the Tigers. He was okay here in Game 1. Only gave up 1 run in 6 innings. But the second start, when he went 5 1/3, he was using the fat part of the plate. The Tigers took advantage of that. They didn't win that game, but should have.
2 out, nobody on. A shift on the infield for Matt Adams, who hits right into it and right into the lap of Pedroia after an inning and a half. Game 1, Fenway Park. 3-0 Red Sox. From the Boston Strong patch to tonight's Chevrolet pitcher profile for Adam Wainwright. Strong arm brought to you by the all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead. He closed out Game 5 of the 2006 World Series between the Tigers and the Cardinals as the closer. And now Wainwright turns around and opens this World Series as their top starter. First pitch is a strike. Batter is Stephen Drew, who used to hang around the Cardinals franchise as a kid when his bigger brother J.D. Drew was a Cardinal. And Stephen used to do a lot of work before the real guys came in to take batting practice in infield with Jose Oquendo, current third base coach for St. Louis. So Stephen knows this franchise very well, and he knows Adam Wainwright. Well, he's just 2 out of 19 against the Cardinal right-hander. It's Drew, then Ross, then Ellsbury. Wainwright trying to settle in after allowing 3 runs in the first. The 1-2. 2-2. Wainwright got himself into trouble in the first inning with a leadoff walk to Ellsbury.
3-2 curveball.
Jammed him. On the mound, Adam Wainwright says, everybody stay away, and it drops.
How do you have the wherewithal to smile as Wainwright did? You know, it's almost taboo in baseball when a pitcher calls for a pop-up. But, I mean, come on. This is Wainwright's ball. Molina's got too far to go with the ball. The ball didn't have enough hang time for Adams or Freeze to come in and make the play. They were playing too deep. So Wainwright is the guy who should make the call, but pitchers never make calls like that. Why?
During the course of the season, you'll see infielders hurdling one another to make sure the pitcher doesn't catch the pop-up.
Tripping over the mound, sure.
And all pitchers do is run the outfield during batting practice and catch fly balls.
And shag.
It's a base hit. Stephen Drew, who is 3 out of 35 in this postseason, will take any hit he can get. But Adam Wainwright, when he put his arms out, was almost telling everybody to just stay away.
Yeah, I thought that's a good point, Joe. I thought the same thing. Molina certainly had too far to run. Plate's 60 feet 6 inches from the pitcher's mound. So Molina runs about 40 feet to watch it drop.
So the leadoff man is on. That's 3 hits now. And Adams just saved an error.
Very uncharacteristic of a Cardinal team to be this shaky in the early innings.
Cardinals have not played a game since last Friday night. As David Ross waits for a 1-1. That's on the outside corner, strike 2. It was true with the Tigers last year. Heck, it was true with the Tigers back in 2006. That layoff, and granted, Boston's just one day closer to the action. They wrapped up their ALCS the next night on Saturday night. They're trying to restart, get the momentum back. Some teams have trouble doing that. Here's one that's in the center field for a base hit. Off the bat of David Ross, and it's 2 on with nobody out here in the second.
The nuances of baseball. You know, Carpenter, in order to play, to cheat for the double play, has to play in and over. And by playing in, he just misses. The ball hit off the end of the bat by Ross. Nobody on first, he might catch that ball. To say that things are not going the Cardinals' way is understating it.
So now 2 on, nobody out, back to the top of the order in Ellsbury.
Could see a bunt right here. A lot of things Ellsbury could do.
Up there to rip, and that's strike 1. That is the first time now that a Red Sox hitter has gone after the first pitch. And Ellsbury, thinking maybe Wainwright was lulled into thinking that he had pitch number 1 all to himself. Tried to jump on that first delivery, strike 1. Runners on at first and second. Good speed at the plate. That's into shallow left. Holiday coming on for out number 1. And Ellsbury does not advance the runners. Victorino coming up, in the World Series on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Here's Victorino, who throughout the course of the season it's at 345 with runners in scoring position. Singing Bob Marley's "Every Little Thing's Gonna Be All Right," as they do when Victorino steps to the plate. And for a frustrated hitter last Saturday night, everything was all right in the 7th inning, with a 1-out grand slam hit over the monster and left. Went from 2-1 Detroit to 5-2 Boston, and that's how it ended. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One swing of the bat can turn you into a guy who is having a miserable postseason series to a great one, and that's what Victorino experienced on Saturday night. Delirious crowd.
Here's a 1-1. Hit on the hands. If you're just joining postseason play watching the Red Sox, you say, well, why is Victorino not hitting left-handed? Typically a switch hitter. That's been abandoned. Now batting strictly right-handed, and something that was a necessity because of a bad left hamstring. Now Molina wants to go through the signs again.
And Victorino has shown that from the right side of the plate against right-handed pitching, he really doesn't know where he is. He's been hit 20 times since August 4th. 20. That includes 5 times in the postseason.
Left side in the hole. Cosma boots it, and the bases are loaded. Don't know if he had a play, even if he comes up with it. But for a guy who dropped a toss back in the 1st inning, it's been a shaky start for Cosma.
Joe, he perhaps would have had a play at 3rd, but David Freese went for the ball in the hole also. David Ross, on the other hand, is running at first base, so maybe he would have had a chance at Ross at 2nd, but doubtful.
Cosma is the Cardinals' best defensive shortstop on their roster. It's an error. And the 2nd of the night, 3rd of the postseason for Cosma. Bases loaded, 1 out. Here's Pedroia. Ball 1. Lead runner is Drew, with Ross in the middle at 2nd base, and Victorino on at 1st. Cold night, they let these pitchers go to their mouth with their pitching hand while on the mound on the rubber. There's a 1-0 to Pedroia with the bases loaded, 1 away. 2-0. So Paul Konerko, the last player in World Series history to hit a grand slam. Coming off an ALCS for the Red Sox, where they hit 2. That's high, and it's 3-0. Wainwright needs a strike, and he's got one. 3-1.
Free swing now for Pedroia. And we have seen what kind of swings he takes when he has a free swing. Told me a couple of days ago that he's cut down from trying to hit the ball in the Charles River. We'll see.
Foul ball, full count.
You could tell Pedroia trying to pull that pitch now. He'll cut down on his swing and go up the middle or to right field. He's excellent at that.
3-2 pitch. Left side. Base hit. 1 run scores. That's Drew. They hold Ross, and it's 4-0 Red Sox here in the second.
Adam Wainwright has thrown 2 3-2 curveballs. He walked Ellsbury with one in the first, and now Pedroia. This Red Sox team coming out, they are not fooled by the Wainwright curveball thus far.
And instead of Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach for the Cardinals, it's Mike Matheny out to talk to the infielders and to Wainwright here in the second.
And he looks like he's directing the conversation not only to Wainwright, but to all of the infielders. This is a calm down meeting right here. Take a deep breath, guys. Still in the game. Get a double play and get out of it.
You could tell it was more than just Wainwright nodding his head. Pete Cosma's made 2 errors. A big one in the first inning, and then this on the ball hit by Victorino in the second. Remember, this inning started on a harmless pop-up right in front of the mound that Wainwright watched drop at his feet off the bat of Stephen Drew. He's come around to score. Now it's Ortiz with the bases loaded, 1 out. Big chance for the Red Sox. Light up the scoreboard here in the second. Fastball for strike 1. Talked about Beltran and his 16 career postseason home runs. Ortiz right behind him with 15. 1-1. Strike 2.
That's what American League pitchers and National League pitchers try to do with David Ortiz. Go up the ladder. That was a 4-seam fastball, encouraged, by the way, by Mike Matheny.
That's new for Wainwright this season. That riding fastball, and now he has Ortiz at 1-2. Ripped into right. Back is Beltran at the wall. It is caught. A run scores as Beltran took a grand slam away. What a catch by Carlos Beltran in right, in the most nonchalant fashion, to take a grand slam away from Beltran. Something Torrey Hunter tried to do in Game 2 of the ALCS.
Boy, did that blast elicit what happened 10 days ago. A week before this past Sunday. Beltran with the catch. 5-0 Red Sox, but the crowd here, if anybody was at that game, Game 2 of the LCS, they had a lot of thoughts about going back to that.
They just appealed to third to see if David Ross left early. He had about 30 minutes to get from third to home after that catch in right. It's a sac fly, and the amazing part of that catch is that it looked like the lower body of Beltran hit the wall before he actually made the catch over the wall.
That's what Victorino was saying about that wall out there. It's very difficult because of your peripheral vision. Normally the wall's high enough to where when you're trying to make the catch, you know where the wall is. Because it's waist high, you don't know where the wall is. So Beltran almost ran into it prematurely, and it looks like he may have bruised his chest in the process.
At least he's feeling around.
Yeah.
In a 5-0 game, that's a strike on Napoli, who had a 3-run double in the first inning, and the count's 0-2. So because of that catch in right, Instead of an 8-0 game, it's a 5-0 game, and Beltran still trying to get loose after hitting that wall out in right field. You just never know what you're going to see when you come through the gates at a big league ball game. Here's game 2 of the ALCS. Torrey Hunter, a much more difficult catch, but he ended up in the bullpen. Here, Beltran hit the wall but made the catch in right. Now the next to Napoli is grounded back to Wainwright, makes the stop, the out at first, and in the inning, Boston gets 2. Hunter came close in game 2 of the ALCS. Tonight, game 1 of the World Series, Beltran made the catch up against the wall, reaching over. 5-0 Boston after 2. We've had a little bit of action here in 2 innings of game 1.
I'll say.
Shane Robinson to lead off. Shane gets the start in center tonight. John Jay does not start tonight against a left-hander Lester. Robinson is making his 32nd start overall, including the postseason. He started game 6 of the NLCS in St. Louis against Clayton Kershaw on Friday night. He plays a very good defensive center field. So he gets the nod tonight with Cosma to follow, then Matt Carpenter against John Lester. The count's still 0-2.
Shane Robinson batting 8th. It took him an hour and 3 minutes for his first at bat. That's bad news when the other team's doing the damage.
In a 5-0 game. The 0-2. Checking on Drew, gets a true hop and gets the out. If you say, well, there's padding out there in right, let's listen to the catch by Beltran in right. Banging the right side of his torso into the top part of the wall in right. And a guy in his first World Series game after a brilliant career will get looked at least in the tunnel, if not the clubhouse, after that catch. Here's Cosma. Hit just 187 against left-handed pitching this season. He's 5 out of 25 so far in this postseason. You think about this World Series coming in, and everybody, Tim, has said, well, these two sides are so evenly matched, and they are in so many different ways. In the bullpen, with their lineups, defensively, the managers, the way they play the game, very even. There's strike 2 on Cosma. To me, there's an advantage in the rotation for the Cardinals. There are unknowns for the Boston Red Sox, and why it's vitally important that with John Farrell's best on the mound tonight, John Lester, they get what they're getting so far. And they're hoping to turn it into a win here in game 1. Mike Matheny comes back with this phenom, the 22-year-old Michael Wacha, tomorrow night. Then Joe Kelly, then Lance Lynn. It's not so clear cut for Boston going forward. Here's a 2-2. Cosma pops it up. Napoli in foul ground, now fair territory, has it 2 out.
That said, I think it's a lot tougher for the Cardinals to come from behind than it is the Red Sox. They don't have the punch. They have guys who can get on base, mainly Matt Carpenter, who led the major leagues in hits, runs, and doubles. Guys like that and of that ilk. But coming back from being 5 runs down early in the game, I think the Red Sox can do that 2-1 over the Cardinals.
Check in with Ken Rosenthal about the Red Sox rotation. Kenny, what do they have going forward after Lackey tomorrow night?
Well, Joe, I am told that it's going to be Jake Peavy most likely in Game 3 and Clay Buchholz likely in Game 4. Buchholz threw lightly in the outfield today. No problems, it seems. He is not hurt, the Red Sox say, but he is also not 100% strong. Perhaps that's to be expected considering that he missed 3 months with a shoulder injury, did not come back until September 10th.
Thanks, Kenny. So the Red Sox have manipulated those starters and moved them around now. If that's the case, in each of the 3 rounds this postseason, that's fouled right side. Strike 2 on Matt Carpenter.
That's what happens when you have a former pitching coach as your manager. He knows how to handle pitchers better, generally speaking, than guys who played in the infield, outfield. The exception to that is a guy who was a catcher like Mike Matheny.
Meanwhile, John Jay has come into the on-deck circle with Beltran, the next scheduled hitter. So clearly there was an injury out and right on that catch as Carpenter strikes out, and that's 4 on the night for John Lester. As we go to the bottom of the 3rd inning at Fenway, leads the Cardinals 5-0. Johnny Gomes comes up empty, strike 1 from Wainwright. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 5-0. Boston on top here in Game 1. Carlos Beltran with that catch on the ball, hit by David Ortiz, crunching into the wall in right. The right side of his body, the shoulder, the chest, the rib cage, all hitting into the wall, and he can't continue. The first World Series game for Carlos Beltran lasts through 2 innings. Here's the 0-2 to Gomes. Popped up, right side, foul ball. Adams has a play, 1 out. Talk about that wall. It hits a right fielder in an awkward spot. This is Victorino, May 12th, and his hand and wrist bothered him for the next couple of months. There's Torrey Hunter out in right center in Game 2 of the ALCS, and then moments ago. And in Carlos Beltran's first appearance in right field at Fenway Park, he's played 22 in center field. He hits that wall and can't continue. Made a great catch, but he's out, and who knows for how long. Xander Bogaerts now with 1 out, nobody on. Hard hit and caught by Cosmo. I think he got 2 outs on that 1 play.
Double play, huh?
He made the catch in the air. Matt Carpenter made the call, the second baseman, but just to be sure, Cosmo threw on to first, 2 out.
Joe, I think it's important to note that right field low riding fence is only dangerous and a right fielder at his peril when he reaches for the ball up and over. If he backs into the fence, no harm, no foul. But when they reach, that exposes that whole ribcage area, and that's where the injury comes in.
Strike 1 to Stephen Drew.
Remarkably, Torrey Hunter did not have an injury after that fall trying to catch Ortiz's ball in Game 2 of the LCS.
2 guys in their mid to late 30s. Torrey Hunter, 38. Said he was sore the rest of the series, but he played on. Carlos Beltran comes out here in Game 1. Here comes a 1-1 from Wainwright. Stephen Drew. That's foul. And that's strike 2. Here's what the Cardinals are missing without Beltran. Out in center field, you see the numbers. The T-Mobile player profile, brought to you by T-Mobile. Nationwide data is going global with coverage in over 100 countries at no extra charge. Career slugging percentage in the postseason for Beltran, 3rd highest all time. He is out. We continue here in Game 1 as we slip into the 4th inning. Cardinals batting down by 5. By the Galaxy Note 10.1. The next big thing is here. By Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. 4th inning rolls in game number 1. Strong defense matters most in October. catch the top defensive plays and enter for a chance to win an all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado at ChevyBaseball.com. Back to the hill in the 4th inning, John Lester. And he deals with John Jay, lefty on lefty. Jay replacing the injured Carlos Beltran. And the official word is a right rib contusion for Beltran after hitting the wall in the 2nd. There are the numbers for Jay. Those were the NLCS numbers. Overall, he's 7 out of 34. A guy who hit 276 during the regular season. 7 home runs, 67 RBIs. Here's a 1-1. Strike 2. Matt Holliday will follow, and then Alan Craig. And if the early indications on Craig's swing are true, he looks like he didn't lose much when he was out for 7 weeks. He had good rips his first time up. That's outside. And a 2-2 count.
John Lester, on the other hand, Boston Red Sox fans could not be any happier for Lester, throwing as well as he can so far tonight.
That's low, so the count full 3-2.
I question that pitch. A 2-2 breaking ball when you've got a 5-run lead. That's the 3rd breaking ball he's thrown. I think you have to throw the fastball and challenge Jay.
Who fights it off. 92 from Lester. 2nd round pick back in 2002. Came up in 2006. Battled non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that season into 2007. 2nd World Series appearance. He was on the mound when the Red Sox finished their sweep of the Rockies in 07. That's a leadoff walk.
That's why you don't throw a breaking ball 2-2 to get the count to 3-2 when you haven't thrown that many and you've got a 5-run lead. Catchers are trained not to get into a 3-2 count. That's why that 2-2 pitch is very, very important. Normally you call for a pitch that the pitcher gets over the best.
Here's Matt Holliday. Singled his first time up as he bounced one up the middle. Cardinals have their leadoff man on for the first time tonight. And Matt Holliday, who's been hot since the 3rd week of August, waits. And he swung at the first pitch the first time and hammers the first pitch foul for strike 1 here. Jay aboard, Holliday up, then Alan Craig as the Cardinals try and jump back in it. One ball, one strike. First walk handed out by Lester. Matt Holliday's been hitting .327 with 9 home runs since August 21st. Hit 300 for the regular season. The 1-1. Down and in. 2-1. Here's a 2-1. Right side foul. Matt Holliday was a part of that Rockies team that came in here, lost the first 2 games of the 07 World Series at Fenway Park, and then just ran into a buzzsaw in the Fall Classic with Boston, who had won 3 years prior. They have won 8 straight World Series games. The Red Sox have, and lead here tonight 5-0. The 2-2. Time was granted prior to the pitch. So that's no pitch. Time called, and the count remains 2-2.
You could hear home plate umpire John Hirschbeck was after Matt Holliday's set time. So Hirschbeck granting timeout to Holliday. Late.
And now it's the capture, and John Hirschbeck says, hey, it was your own guy this time, David Ross, who asked for time.
How long this is going to go on.
The 2-2. Fouled back. As hard as Lester's thrown all night, 94. Holliday got wood on it.
Matt Holliday from a baseball family. His father, Tom, who used to be the coach at Oklahoma State, is now the pitching coach at North Carolina State and could produce the #1 draft choice next June. Young man by the name of Carlos Rodon, 6'3", left-handed pitcher.
The 2-2. Strikeout for out #1. And the 5th of the night for John Lester.
Good breaking ball used at the right time. Holliday way out in front. 5th strikeout for Lester.
Matt's dad, Tom, was the head coach at Oklahoma State, and for 5 years, Holliday's dad, Tom, had a pitching coach by the name of John Farrell.
About that.
He was the manager for the Red Sox. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Alan Craig, strike 1. In fact, John Farrell used to babysit young Matt Holliday. He said, "Oh, you mean Bam Bam?" Back when he was 4 years old.
He's a bigger guy now.
Yeah, he was a big kid, and he's a big man. Alan Craig popped up his first time. Waiting for the 0-1 from John Lester. Inside, a ball and a strike.
You could see Lester with that fastball, inside, outside. Cutter outside, cutter in. 4 of his 5 strikeouts on cutters.
Now he's trying to pitch around a leadoff walk. Here's a 1-1. Alan Craig's only hope, as it turned out, to get back and play after going down with that foot injury September 4th in Cincinnati was if the guys around him could get the Cardinals into the World Series, and here he is. Hit 3 home runs in the World Series for St. Louis back in 2011 when their lineup and their team revolved around #5, Albert Pujols. Here's a 2-1. Shattered back, foul ball. And the bat ends up in shallow left.
That's a big league jam shot right here. That's that cutter in on the hands. Just shattered.
Ball came down, hit him on the leg or foot, so it was a foul ball. The count 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It cut her like a buzzsaw inside from Lester.
The guy who has the best in the big leagues with runners in scoring position, hitting .454, is trying to help the Cardinals rally here in the 4th inning with Yadier Molina on deck. Down 5-0 in game 1. Here is a 2-2. Left side, foul ball. Little bit of a limp for Alan Craig, but to come back and have the kind of swings he's had after a 7-week layoff and just hitting off a tee, taking soft toss, trying to stay off that sprained left foot, pretty impressive. The 2-2 up the middle, that's a base hit. Jay will stop at second, 2 on, 1 out on a base hit by Alan Craig.
Well, you talk about plate coverage. That ball was about 4 inches outside. Alan Craig gets a lot of base hits up the middle. Stephen Drew diving for it, can't get to it. Hits it with one hand off the plate away up the middle for the second Cardinal hit.
And now the Cardinals turn to Yadier Molina. Molina, who led the National League in innings caught, despite missing time with a bad knee on the disabled list. First half of the season, there was no bigger threat at the plate. And he grounds one left side through, base hit. Jay will hold at third, and the bases are loaded with 1 out.
When you're trailing by 5 runs, your whole game changes. No chances are taken. Base to base becomes your offense.
Come on, Dave, let's go. Right back here.
Molina first ball swinging and finding a hole on the left side. Jay has to hold at third base. No way to take a chance.
Now it's David Freese. Former World Series MVP. Takes that inside and down, ball 1. Freese in that 2011 postseason hit .397 in 18 games, 5 home runs.
Is that a postseason record with 21 RBIs?
Here is a 1-0 pitch. Foul straight back.
Trying to put the Cardinals 1 back with that swing. That was from Freese's heels.
Ahead on the count, 1-0. He was looking for a fastball and fouled it straight back. Jay at third, Craig at second, Molina at first. Ball 2. Matt Adams on deck. Here comes a 2-1. Back to Lester. Throws home. Out. Down to first. Got them both. And the biggest scoring chance for the Cardinals so far tonight in Game 1 turns into a 1-2-3 inning-ending double play. 5-0 Red Sox after 3.5. Man David Ross first up. And back to the top of the order, Ellsbury and Victorino against Adam Wainwright. Pitch number 70. Fouled straight back. He was right on it. Strike 1. The home plate umpire, the crew chief John Hirschbeck, is wearing a microphone tonight. And after Ross does something to start this 4th inning, we'll take it back to the conversation when the umpires got together on that controversial play at second base back in the first, when it's a fielder's choice and an error when Pete Kozma could not corral the toss from Matt Carpenter. Initially called it out, and then the umpires got together. A strikeout ends the inning, or starts the inning. And let's go back to that moment. After they got together, John Hirschbeck then said this to Cardinal manager Mike Matheny.
There's 5 of us out here, okay? And all 5 of us say we are 100% sure that that was not a catch. Well, our job is to get it right.
And they did get it right. He's talking about the 5 other than Dana DeMuth, who initially made the call out. He was overruled by the other 5. Joe Torre is nice enough to stop in with Ken Rosenthal And we'll give that to you after Ellsbury does something here with 1 out, nobody on. Joe Torre now with Major League Baseball. He's the Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations. As this ball is fouled, let's go down to Kenny now. Ken?
Joe, I know you have not spoken with the umpires yet, but as you understand it, why was the call overturned?
Well, Kenny, I'm sitting on the home side of the field, and I noticed what had happened. And when I know it's going to be overturned, or they're going to talk about it, whether it's overturned or not, is that the umpires sort of collapse on, they did on Dana. So that lets them know, because that's a sign they have with each other. If nobody has anything different, they'll stay back at their positions. But once they start collapsing on the umpire that's involved in the call, that means they're going to huddle. And, when they huddle, you got more eyes on the play.
Now, how unusual is it for a play like that to be reversed?
I don't think it's that unusual. The umpires have been doing the huddling a lot more. And I know there are some plays that I'm asked, why don't they huddle? Well, that's the reason they don't, is because they don't get a sign from the other umpires. Just because they don't leave their position and talk about it doesn't mean that they're not communicating.
Last question. Replay is coming. If replay had been in effect right now, tonight, how would this play have unfolded?
Well, you know what, Kenny, that's what we're still talking about. We're discussing about the huddling because we have replay. We're just really discussing whether it's necessary or not.
Joe, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Joe, back to you.
All right, guys, thank you. Back-to-back strikeouts to start this 4th inning, and Shane Victorino digs his way in. Tim, there was a time in this game when umpires didn't get together and huddle like that at all.
That's true.
And there's been an evolution here as we're looking at expanded replay for next season.
An evolution in fairness. That's right.
And getting the call right.
Right.
And so to this umpiring crew's credit, they got together, they talked about it. 5 guys other than DeMuth all saw it the same way. And that's good umpiring.
I thought that was well explained by Joe Torre, too.
1 ball, 1 strike on Shane Victorino. Two out in the 4th inning, and Victorino takes low for ball 2, 2-1.
10 years ago, the case with umpiring, even if it wasn't clear, they would, that's a tough call. But when it's clear like that, when the ball hits the edge of the webbing and everybody sees it and everybody knows it, then it's got to be changed. But 10 years ago, it would not have been changed. Curveball stays on the plate.
I can't remember a postseason where almost across the board we've seen more reactions by hitters to the home plate umpire, and that again got John Hirschbeck. You can hear Victorino say, I'm going to look again and I'll let you know. We saw Victorino get into it during the ALCS with Joe West. But there's been a lot of that, and there was plenty of that with the NLCS as well. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Shallow center. Jay is there. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, 2nd in a row, put together by Wainwright. 5-0 after 4. Back after this from your local Fox station. Start the 5th inning, and Matt Adams starts it with a strike from John Lester, and any Pearl Jam fan had to be thrilled with the news that they have a new album. It's out, Lightning Bolt.
Your buddy Eddie Vedder, right?
I mean, we put music to sports highlights all over Fox, but they'll be with us throughout this World Series, providing the soundtrack to those pieces put together in our truck.
Eddie from Seattle and a huge baseball fan.
Here's a 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. John Farrell, the manager, first-year manager of the Red Sox, chatted with us during the break. play that for you after Matt Adams does something to start this fifth. Cardinals had the bases loaded last inning. Here's a line drive into left and a dive and catch by Gomes. One away.
Johnny Gomes made one of these in the LCS against Detroit. Good play by Gomes. Left field at Fenway, you can afford to play shallow. A ball over your head, it's up against the wall. That's a ball that playing in St. Louis probably wouldn't have been caught. But here, good play Gomes.
Johnny Gomes is in the postseason 4th time over the last 6 years. And while the numbers were good, not great, what he adds to this Red Sox lineup when he's in there, and he's replacing Daniel Nava, who had the 8th best average during the course of the regular season, hit over 300. John Farrell telling us there's just something different about our team when that guy is one of the starting 9. Here's an opportunity for him to pick up a ground ball on a base hit by Shane Robinson. And this Red Sox team is undefeated during this postseason when Gomes has started in left.
6-0.
Leading tonight. Now Cosmo. Cosmo popped up his first time. First question to John Farrell was about the way John Lester is pitching tonight.
You know what? He got his curveball involved a little bit earlier than maybe in some recent starts, but it's been a good off-speed pitch for him. They were aggressive coming out right, swinging, some first pitch fastballs, and then he's also had a pretty good backdoor cutter to some right-handers.
In the first inning, take us back to what you said when you went out there after that call at second base. Initially an out called on the ball that wasn't corralled by Cosmo.
You know, Joe, the one thing that we saw from the dugout here was that, you're accepting of the neighborhood play to a certain extent. But in that situation, he was blindsided. I thought, Cosmo was with Pedroia going into second base, and a throw went off the fingertips of his glove, so there really wasn't any control from my vantage point. I just asked Dana DeMuth if he could confer with the other guys on the infield, and you know what? It looks like they got the call right.
Yeah, and to their credit, and there's been an evolution in this game. When umpires get together, it's nice to see them gather and then get it correct.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think anybody involved in the game, that's all we're asking for. And to their credit, as you said, they did get together and got the call right.
John, thanks for your time.
Okay, guys.
After the Robinson base hit to left, Cosmo flies to right. He's 0 for 2, and back to the top of the order, Matt Carpenter. Talk about a hitter who has evolved. Carpenter's filled 2 roles for the Cardinals this year. First of all, they've been desperately seeking a second baseman. Typically a third baseman, left side of the infield guy, learned second base over the offseason, worked on it during spring training, and really played the position defensively very well this year. But he's developed some pop, and he's also developed into one of the toughest outs in baseball. He's got a great batting eye, and while he's not your typical speedster at the top of a lineup, he's just an igniter with the kind of hits and the walks he takes.
He's an excellent base runner. 126 runs, led the major leagues. Second base, a very difficult position to master. It's more of a natural instinct to play the left side of the infield. Shortstop or third base, you need a stronger arm, but the footwork around second is very tricky.
One on, 2 out. Matt Carpenter waits. And now is in the hole 1-2. Carpenter did his work with the third base coach, Jose Oquendo, who was a brilliant defensive middle infielder coming up with the Mets. And then was a postseason star with the Cardinals later in his career. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cardinals as a team hit .269, second best average in the National League. 125 home runs. Carpenter had 11 of them. That's into left field. That ball is going to get down for a base hit. Gomes drops it. The runner Robinson to third. He is there, and down to second is Carpenter.
Boy, that is a sensational play by Shane Robinson. He rounded the bag. He had stopped. He saw Gomes drop the ball. It's going to be an error on Gomes. We talked about how you're in your base running. You've got to be a lot more cautious when you trail by 5. A lot of guys wouldn't have tried that, and Robinson just makes it. Once he stops, usually it's tough to get started again, but he does and makes it.
Gomes committed one error during the regular season. Now he's got one in the postseason. And it's second and third, 2 out in the 5th inning. And with John Jay up, he could make this a 3-run game with a base hit. Walked his first time. Ball 1. Jay is playing in place of the injured Carlos Beltran. And let's go down to Aaron Andrews for a report on Beltran.
Yeah, Joe, we saw Carlos Beltran leave the game, leave the field after hitting that wall, robbing David Ortiz of what could have been a grand slam. We know he is at the hospital right now getting x-rays. Of course, we'll let you know when we find out more.
Here's the play in right. And the collision with that wall, the right side, the body of Beltran. So he's getting looked at. It's up to John Jay here. And a 1-0 is on the inside corner, ball and a strike. Jay drove in 67 runs during the regular season. Has 3 this postseason, 2 big ones sitting out there. Now he's in the hole 1-2. Good speed on. To their feet at Fenway. Able to lay off 2-2. Fought it off.
It's tough for that cutter. A lot of times when a left-hander throws a cutter inside to a left-handed batter, he starts it at them. The idea is for it to cut over the inside part of the plate like the first strike to Jay. Very difficult pitch to handle for a left-handed batter.
The 2-2. Up the middle. Drew charging. Got the out. And Lester Strange 2 more. Cardinals have left 5. We're halfway through game number 1. Red Sox coming up, leading 5-0. The men and women of the military who have sacrificed so much to protect our freedom. Log on to welcomebackveterans.org to see how you can help today. 3 Medal of Honor winners saluted before the game here at Fenway Park. A great ovation from this packed house at Fenway Park. The players, everybody joined in. The count is 2-0 on Dustin Pedroia from Adam Wainwright. That's into the right field corner. Robinson, nice catch for out number 1.
Boy, what a good play by Shane Robinson. That ball hit by Pedroia, tailing away from him. Well, had that ball gotten by him, that is real trouble. 3, maybe 4. casting caution to the wind to make a nice play.
Yeah, that ball gets past Robinson and starts circling around out in right field.
Yeah, right.
Pedroia might have been able to circle the bases, and Adam Wainwright appreciates that effort. They got a good effort from Beltran earlier in the game with this guy at the plate. Breaking ball, strike one. Ortiz, with the bases loaded in the second, hit a ball, and that's when Beltran got hurt. As he hit the wall, made the catch, reaching over to turn a potential grand slam into a sacrifice fly. Wainwright's retired everybody since then. With one out, nobody on, the 0-2 is in the dirt. As we go through this World Series, if you're not familiar with Yadier Molina, there's nobody better at blocking pitches in the dirt.
Best I've ever seen.
He flashes the signs with a count 1-2. That's in the center, base hit. 1 on, 1 out with Napoli coming up.
Napoli, the early blow in this game to drive in 3 as Ortiz hits the hanging curveball at backswing, came back and hit Yadier Molina on the helmet. He's all right. Tell you who wasn't all right, Anibal Sanchez in game 5 in the second inning after Napoli hit that home run to center field in Detroit. I love David Ross's line the next day.
First pitch, strike one.
He was trying to do it again. David Ross's line, as you look at David Ortiz whacking Molina on the head, he's okay. David Ross said that the ball that Napoli hit, this is it, should have had a flight attendant on it. 445 feet. He's funny.
And catching here tonight with Lester on the mound. 1 ball, 1 strike on Napoli. We get a vote for World Series MVP, and Napoli was our pick toward the latter stages of Game 6 back in 2011 before David Freese changed the outcome with 1 big swing and then another. That's strike 2. Seth Maness, the right-hander, is getting loose. As we play in the bottom of the 5th. That beard started growing in spring training for Napoli.
Had never grown a beard before spring training.
Here's a little more about Mike Napoli. Born in Hollywood, Florida. 6 straight seasons with 20 or more home runs. And it's been since the middle of spring training in March since he last shaved his face. There's Jason Mott, the closer for the Cardinals, who was hurt early. Two and 2. Ortiz with a 1-out single. He's at first. Off the end of the bat, Wainwright gets the out at second and safe at first. So the force out at second with Wainwright throwing off balance to Cosma, 2 out.
Rather athletic play by a good athlete Adam Wainwright safe at first is Napoli. Close.
Looked like a good call by Wegner.
Yep.
As that foot was coming down on the bag as the ball was going into the glove of Matt Adams. Here's Johnny Gomes. Gomes 2 for 12 now in his career against Wainwright. That's in the hole. The out at second and sends game one into the sixth inning. Gomes 0 for 3 tonight. Cardinals will have the heart of their lineup to the plate, down by 5. 97. 23rd of October, game number 1. Pleasant night weather-wise here at Fenway Park. And Matt Holliday is first up. Pitch number 79 from Lester's into right. Victorino is there. 1 pitch, 1 out. Folks, if you haven't seen the young right-hander pitch, Michael Wacha gets the ball tomorrow night in game 2 for St. Louis. He's 22 years old. And he takes on John Lackey. And again, Lackey, who was matched up with Verlander in the ALCS. Red Sox players kept saying nobody talked about Lackey even being in the game. It was all Verlander. Well, going into tomorrow night, there'll be a lot of talk about a 22-year-old named Wacha. Ball 1 to Alan Craig,
who last year was pitching on the campus of Texas A&M from Texarkana, Arkansas. Same hometown, by the way, as Will Middlebrooks of the Red Sox. They played against each other in high school. Here it is, a town of 37,000 people. And Michael Wacha and Will Middlebrooks are both from there. Texarkana, Arkansas, and Texas. One side of the street is Texas. The other side's Arkansas. Pretty cool.
There's the matchup. Lackey's 2-0 coming off a great start in Detroit in game 3 against Verlander. And then there's Michael Wacha. As Craig takes a strike in the count 2-2. Our coverage tomorrow night begins on Fox Sports 1 at 7 Eastern. With Fox Sports Live World Series special followed at 7:30 Eastern here on Fox with game 2. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fouled away. Going back to Wacha's final start of the regular season when he had a no-hitter with 2 out in the 9th inning against the Nationals. He has an ERA of 0.3. Wow. In 29 2/3 innings pitched, he's allowed 1 run this postseason in 21 innings. That's strike 3, and that's out number 2. And strikeout number 6 for John Lester.
Cutter on the outside corner. That, by the way, that 1 run he allowed, the home run, the solo home run by Pedro Alvarez, the third baseman for the Pirates in the LDS. Won that game 2-1.
There's Boston's own Matt Damon here at the ballpark tonight. The first pitch misses to Yadier Molina.
By the way, Joe, we don't want to make I said we, meaning me.
That's all right. Don't me in.
Don't want to make the folks in Texarkana, Texas mad. So they are both, Will Middlebrooks and Michael Wacha are both from the Texas side of Texarkana. Let's clear that up.
1-1 on Yadier Molina, who has a base hit. 1 for 2 tonight. Lester trying to get through the 6th inning strong. And he's 1 strike away from doing just that. The 29-year-old turning in a good outing here in the World Series at Fenway. Cardinals came in this season 4 games under 500 when the opposition starts a left-hander. There's Kenny Chesney and MLB Network's own Kevin Millar. That ball's down the right field line. And the count stays 2-2. Lester 2-1 this postseason. Won Game 1 of the division series against Tampa Bay. Lost Game 1 of the ALCS. Won Game 5. Here's his 2-2. Molina pops it up. Napoli is there, and Lester is strong through 6. Red Sox coming to the plate. Still leading 5-0. Red Sox a loose bunch, and why not? They're leading 5-0 as we move into the bottom of the 6th inning here in Game 1. Leading it off is Xander Bogaerts from Aruba. The 21-year-old was lined out to short and struck out. John Axford, the new Cardinal pitcher, hits the outside corner, strike 1 with a fastball. Axford, the former closer for Milwaukee, picked up at the end of August by John Mozeliak, the Cardinal general manager, and there are his numbers during the postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. Coming into tonight, the Red Sox last lost a Game 1 of the World Series back in 1967. 2-1 to the Cardinals with Bob Gibson pitching a complete game. He struck out 10. They won Game 1 in 75 and 86, 2004 here at Fenway, 11-9.
The reason I illustrated that, Joe, was all of these seats, one more time, everybody in those seats were wearing white shirts. Hitting Gibson and his counterpart that day was impossible. Anything up in the strike zone, you just couldn't see the ball. In those days, the batter's eye was different. They were all day games, of course. And trying to hit a white baseball out of the white shirts in center field, impossible.
Now it's full count. Only one I didn't mention was a 2007 win in Game 1, 13-1 here at Fenway over the Rockies. Leading 5-0 tonight. Strikeout starts the inning. 1 away in the 6th.
Number 7, Steven Drew.
The grip looked like a split, but it certainly wasn't a 3-2 split when you're trailing by 5. He was trying to get the ball over. It's probably a fastball that he just split his fingers a little more than he normally would.
Fouled straight back by Steven Drew. It was December 13th of 2003 when Steven's older brother J.D. was traded from St. Louis to Atlanta for a package of 3 players. J.D. went with Eli Marrero, and the Cardinals got Adam Wainwright in that deal, former first-round pick for the Braves. That's on the inside corner, strike 2.
What a deal by then general manager Walt Jocketty of the Cardinals. Still paying dividends.
Wainwright, tonight's starter, went 5, allowed 5 runs, only 3 of them earned. A couple of errors behind him and a missed pop-up that Adam Wainwright will think about as he goes to sleep tonight. A ball that fell right in front of him off the bat of the guy at the plate, Steven Drew, to start that 2-run second. Here's a 1-2 from Axford. 2-2. Axford, another big right-hander in that angle. It's almost like he's pitching downhill. Got a good fastball. Brings home a 2-2. Still 2-2 on Steven.
It used to be easier prior to 1969. It was easier for pitchers to pitch downhill because the mound was 15 inches high prior to 1969. It's been tougher since then because obviously the mound is flatter, but pitchers have adjusted to it.
You're partly to blame for that. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Axford pulled the string and Stephen Drew strikes out, 2 out.
I really had nothing to do with it, but the guy that I caught did. That was Bob Gibson, who had a 1.12 ERA, and that caused the mound to be lowered by 5 inches next year.
It was deemed unfair.
Yeah.
After a 1.12 ERA season for the great Bob Gibson. The Geico in-game box score for Boston. Pedroia's got a couple of hits and RBI. Napoli is the one who started the scoring with a 3-run double in the first inning. Totally fooled and tied up is David Ross, strike 1. Axford has struck out the first 2 in the inning. As we go through this World Series, and we're obviously just getting into it, these are 2 teams that in the late innings can shut you down and do it with flair.
That's kind of the overall game plan, I think, of both teams. Get into the 8th inning with a lead. Trevor Rosenthal for the Cardinals lights out, and Koji Uehara for the Red Sox is just ridiculous. Off the charts.
Here's a 1-1. That's down for ball 2. It's not just the closers as Choate gets loose. The Cardinals have Carlos Martinez, another young right-hander. Kevin Segrist, a rookie left-hander. Both are mid-90s and above. Ross hits it foul down the right field line. Meanwhile, the Red Sox will feature 4 guys, including O'Hara. Brandon Workman, the right-hander, who started the season at Double-A. Craig Breslow, the lefty, and Junichi Tozawa, the right-hander. A lot of valuable pieces for these 2 clubs sitting out beyond that wall and right. 2-2. Struck him out, and Axford strikes out the side in his first inning of work. Let's go to the 7th inning. Game 1 of the World Series. 5-0. Back after this from John Lester has pitched a gem here tonight. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. No runs allowed on 5 hits. When he was in his biggest jam of the night, the guy digging in, David Freese, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Bases loaded, 1 out, bounced into an inning-ending 1-2-3 double plays. He hit it back to Lester, who threw home and on to first. Out in front on this pitch, 74 from the lefty, strike 1. David Freese is struck out, hit into that double play, trying to get something started in the 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike 2.
Baseball players do various things during the All-Star break. It's had 3 or 4 days off. That seems like it's more. And John Lester, after a horrible first half, just did nothing. He slept, did nothing, rejuvenated that body. And 7 of his last 12 starts, he went at least 7 innings during the regular season for John Farrell.
Counts 2-2. strikeout number 7.
That fastball in and out to the right-handed batters of the Cardinals, very effective tonight.
It'll bring in Matt Adams. We talked about what John Lester's been through and what he went through as a young man battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He brings it home to Adams. There's a strike. Lester, who loves to pitch here at Fenway. 8-2 here at home this season. That's to the shortstop position, fielded by Bogarts for out number 2. And for what John Lester went through and how he honors what he went through, let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, Lester has done some great work in recent years to help kids with cancer. Last year, he and his wife Farah launched NVRQT. That's short for Never Quit. And the idea of the foundation is to raise money and awareness for the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. Lester also did a number of meet and greets in different markets this season with kids who are undergoing treatment, and he has remained in contact with a 6-year-old boy he met in Los Angeles named Zain Youssef, among others.
Thanks, Ken. And here is a tweet from John Lester. There's Zain. Zain's got to be awfully proud of how his friend, the 29-year-old John Lester, has pitched here tonight in Game 1.
Along with 40,000 strong at Fenway.
Off the end of the bat to keep the count 0-2. Robinson got the start tonight after going 2 for 2 in Game 6 against Kershaw. Against the left-handed starter Lester in place of John Jay. Now both Jay and Robinson are in the lineup because Beltran left with an injury in the second. Here's another 0-2. How about John Lester tonight? In total control, he has struck out 8 and allowed no runs on 5 hits and leads 5-0. The real heroes in the park tonight are service members and veterans with tickets. Compliments of Bank of America. The Fenway Park crowd is being asked to sing along and wave their flags for the performance of God Bless America. Bank of America will donate $1 on behalf of each person in attendance tonight to military nonprofits, up to $1 million. Right now we go to public address announcer Henry Mahegan.
And now, for the singing of God Bless America, please welcome retired United States Marine Sergeant Dan Clark.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Retired U.S. Marine Sergeant Dan Clark. It's great to have moments like these where we can thank our service members and veterans. Join Bank of America in support of our troops and share your gratitude at #TroopThanks. Time to stretch. Bottom of the 7th inning rolls in game 1. Red Sox lead 5-0. Game 1, Ellsbury, Victorino, and Pedroia against the new pitcher, third of the night, Randy Choate. The left-hander steps off, having a tough time seeing the signs put down by Yadier Molina. There are the numbers for this matchup left-hander. Mike Matheny may use this score and this game to get some of these bullpen guys some work. Sure. You've got the right-handed hitters coming up the next 2 and more action for the Cardinals out in their bullpen. Manus was up earlier. We may see him. Here's a 2-hopper to Carpenter, 1 out. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by Bank of America, proud supporter of our service members and veterans. By T-Mobile, with global data coverage in over 100 countries at no extra charge. By the 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. That's it for Choate. His night is finished. Victorino is coming up. Manus is coming in. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Red Sox batting, leading it 5-0. Seth Manus takes over. He is a ground ball producing machine. As he hits the bottom part of the strike zone to Shane Victorino, who's hitless in this game. He's reached once on an error. He is jammed, and it's caught by big Matt Adams at first. 2 out.
Well-timed play by Adams from Slippery Rock University. Does not slip here. Good play.
Way off the line, and the reach for the out.
First major league player who went to Slippery Rock since 1927. Slippery Rock University is about 52 miles north of Pittsburgh. Good school.
There's Pedroia. A chopper to third. Freeze gets the high hop and makes an error. And the Cardinals defensively have been sloppy here in game 1.
2 errors on Pete Cosma, the shortstop, and now 1 on David Freeze. An easy play in between hop for Adams. Careless night for the Cards with the gloves.
And as you said early, it's not typical.
No, it's not.
For this Cardinal team. It's an error on Freeze, his second of the postseason. That means Manus is out. Segrist is coming in, with Ortiz coming up as the 7th inning continues here at Fenway. Draft pick by the Cardinals. Former starter in the minor leagues, he has blossomed into a shutdown left-hander in the Cardinal bullpen, and David Ortiz gets his first look at it. The rookie can bring it, mid-90s. Ortiz gets under it to right. Will it carry? At the wall, it's gone. 7-0. Red Sox lead in game 1. Another postseason home run for David Ortiz. He was ready for the Segrist heat.
High fastball right around the letters. It could have been, were it not for Carlos Beltran, his second home run of the night. As Beltran made a nice play going over the fence and pulling back what would have been a home run with the bases loaded. Back in the second.
And now Napoli ready for the Seagrass fastball. This one came in and left. Got under it, and it still got out by plenty.
The thing about Ortiz, even at that age, the advanced age, 38 years old, he can still carry home runs over the fence. You don't think they're going to make it, but when they get up, they seem to pick up speed.
Ortiz hit a home run off Woody Williams in Game 1 of the 04 World Series here at Fenway. Woody was the veteran right-hander. Now he gets the rookie left-hander. That's the first left-handed batter to hit a home run off Kevin Seagrass all season long. Faced 84 batters. No lefty could take him deep, but in October and in the late innings, David Ortiz knows what to do. Here's a 2-2 to Napoli. That's hard hit to center, but Jay is there and the inning is over. An error extended the inning. And then Big Papi thrills the fans here at Fenway yet again. John Lester back to the hill as we go to the 8th inning. All Red Sox tonight. They lead 7-0 in Game 1. Bullpen as we play in the top of the 8th, 7-0. The Red Sox on top after David Ortiz clubbed his 16th career postseason home run in the bottom of the 7th. That ties Carlos Beltran. Thoughts after this game for the Cardinals as they face a steep hill here the rest of the way tonight will be for Mike Matheny, their star right fielder, and their big run producer Carlos Beltran. How bad is the right rib contusion? Cosma is in the hole, 1-2.
Postseason or not, Joe, it changes the offensive look of their lineup. No doubt about it. Without Beltran, a lot tougher to beat a very tough Boston team.
But again, going forward, the Red Sox are getting exactly what they need out of Lester. John Farrell's getting it from his left-hander. The pitching matchup tomorrow night. Lackey off a great start in Game 3 against Michael Wacha, the NLCS most valuable player. That gets away. The count's full, and Lester gets asked by his catcher David Ross if he's okay. After being a little slow to gather after that pitch, the count's full.
Once again, trailing the Pittsburgh Pirates in the LDS. Michael Wacha pitches a jewel in Pittsburgh. And then Adam Wainwright closed out a very good Bucco team this year. I mean, what a year they had.
Cosmo waits for a 3-2 and grounds to Stephen Drew. Gobbles it up, gets the out, 1 away. 8 in a row retired by John Lester, 1 on the 8th. This November, some cops are born, others are made. Get ready for the next evolution of cop drama. Don't miss the show critics are calling obsession worthy, almost human. The 2-night premiere starts Sunday, November 17th, only on Fox. As Matt Carpenter stands in, he is 1 for 3. Carlos Martinez, they call him Baby Pedro, is getting loose for St. Louis out in their bullpen. The real Pedro starred here with the Red Sox. Pedro Martinez. With 1 out, Carpenter takes ball 1.
And on TBS's pregame show.
That's right.
Did a good job. Real good job.
I enjoyed watching him, and a well thought out guy and somebody who didn't just have great stuff. He was smart, knew how to pitch. And he had a string of seasons that were, think about when he did it, that were just shut down. He and Maddox Greg Maddux, two right-handers that stood out in that era.
Finger pressure, both of them. The change-up with the finger pressure of Martinez. Nobody in the history of the game maybe has had the best or had as good a finger pressure as Greg Maddux.
One out, nobody on. The 2-1 has popped up. Shallow left center. Ellsbury is there. He takes charge. 2 out.
As a matter of fact, Joe, I can't come into this ballpark without thinking of the 1999 All-Star Game, started by Pedro Martinez, and the honor and homage paid to the great one and only Teddy Ball Game, Ted Williams.
And Lester's finished, and they'll let him hear it here at Fenway. Saluted by the fans, welcomed back to the dugout by his teammates. He's now pitched 13 1/3 scoreless innings in World Series play. Went 5 2/3 scoreless at Colorado, Game 4 in 2007. He ought to be awfully proud of the way he pitched here tonight as John Jay faces Tozawa and fouls the first pitch away, strike 1. Jay 0 for 1 with a walk and a ground out. Tozawa, part of the big three at the back end of the bullpen for Boston. Tozawa, Breslow, and Uehara. This postseason's gone 19 innings, allowed 2 runs. That's it on 13 hits. Jim Leland, the manager of the Detroit Tigers, as Ryan Dempster gets loose, said, summing up that American League Championship Series, their starters were good. Their bullpen was great.
Well said.
Tonight, Lester was great. With 2 out. Still 0-2. 11 o'clock here in the East. The rain stayed away for Game 1 of this World Series. Weather's supposed to be nice tomorrow. Carlos Beltran left with a right rib contusion. Injury occurred in the bottom of the second. Napoli started the scoring. Ortiz, 16th career postseason home run. John Lester, 7 2/3 scoreless. Here's the 0-2 again. Skips in. Cardinals had a tough time against left-handed starters. They ranked 20th during the regular season, 4 games under when a left-hander started. Right-handed starters, they had the best record in baseball. The right-hander John Lackey tomorrow night against the young 22-year-old Michael Wacha for St. Louis in Game 2. On the air at 7 o'clock tomorrow night on Fox Sports 1. 2-2 on Jay with Holiday on deck. Every phase of the game here tonight. So far, the Red Sox have outplayed the Cardinals defensively, getting key hits, driving in runners in scoring position. And the matchup of the 2 number 1 starters, Lester outpitched Wainwright. Inside corner, struck him out. Lester applauds as these fans were applauding him all night long. Bottom of the 8th rolls in Game 1. Red Sox will bat up by 7. Covers the offseason like MLB Network with 3 primetime shows and TV's only morning show dedicated to baseball. It's on MLB Network beginning Monday, November 4th. Carlos Martinez just turned 22 toward the end of September from the Dominican Republic. You see the numbers during this postseason. He has pitched his way to the top of the list because of stuff like that, just slinging home a 98-mile-an-hour fastball for strike one to the pinch hitter Daniel Nava, batting for Johnny Gomes. That's strike two. This guy just has, they say, and it's probably overused, but electric stuff. That's what this is.
I was thinking about that electricity. I don't know who came up with that term, but whoever did must have been thinking about Carlos Martinez.
Gomes finished for the night. Martinez takes over, and no real surprise for Mike Matheny. He's got a young bullpen. He's got guys that have so much talent out there, but they're short on experience, and so here in the World Series on the road at Fenway, why not get them in the ballgame?
Well, you can do it in an American League city because you don't have to pinch hit for your pitcher or the pitcher spot. You can more or less bring in pitchers without paying the price of using a hitter. Can't do that in the National League city, of course.
And that's worth talking about as we get ready for Game 3 on Saturday in St. Louis. Here's one into left. Into the corner. It takes a hop and bangs around before Holiday can get it back in. And Daniel Nava, who hit 300 plus during the regular season and has found his way to the bench in favor of him, Johnny Gomes, lately in the postseason, just steps off the bench and hits a double.
And nothing but good words by John Farrell for a man who is understanding like Daniel Nava is. Now think about this. You're 8th in the American League in hitting, and you have Johnny Gomes, a right-handed hitter, hitting in front of you or playing in front of you, playing 6 games, 6 of the 10 prior to this game. And you accept it. So these Red Sox are teaming with team players.
Here's Xander Bogaerts up to get it. And this is a 22-year-old facing a 21-year-old at the plate here in Game 1 of the World Series. We talked a lot about Bogaerts during the ALCS. He's from Aruba, speaks 4 languages, was going to be 5, but he dumped out of French. Thought it was too much. He's got superstar written all over him when you sit down with him. And
so aware.
He's just not scared at all of the big stage.
He's just so aware of things around him. Just can't say enough about this young man. From the island of Aruba.
That goes back to the backstop, and over to third goes Nava with nobody out.
That might have been a cross-up right there. Molina looked like he was waiting for the local. He got the express, and when you're catching a guy like Carlos Martinez, that can be terrifying. Watch Molina. He had no idea that fastball was coming.
Happiest guy is the home plate umpire, John Hirschbeck, jumping over the left shoulder of Molina. That whistled right by his ear. It's a wild pitch. There's a good breaking ball from Martinez. 2-2. Infielders are in. Nava at third, nobody out. Already 7-0. Boston on top. Well hit on a line at Holiday for a sac fly. Nava can walk home, and Bogaerts has got his first postseason RBI. And you can bet number 72 will be in the lineup tomorrow night against Michael Walker.
And you can bet he'll have a different number next year. It won't be the stratospheric 72. It'll be something in the 30s or 40s, I would think. He's earned that.
A double, a wild pitch, a sac fly. Here's Stephen Drew. Drew tonight has a hit. So for a guy who's struggled with only 3 this postseason coming in, he'll take it. But that was the pop-up that was in front of the mound that Wainwright just let drop. 2-0. 2-1. Fox Sports Live has you covered with complete post-game insight and analysis from Game 1. We'll have the latest on the injury to Carlos Beltran. Analysis on just what went wrong with the Cardinals defensively. And exclusive interviews and reaction from Fenway Park. Here's a ground ball right side. Adams to the bag. 2 out. That's after the game from Fenway to LA. Fox Sports Live has you covered only on Fox Sports 1. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by the new 2014 Dodge Durango. By Thor, The Dark World in theaters November 8th. And by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Number 9 man in the order is David Ross. And again, time is granted late. Ross tonight with a sharp single his first time. Struck out his next 2 times up. Now deals with Martinez. That rides up and in, and that's got David Ross talking to himself.
Well, you know what happened? David Ross called timeout too late, and that does not make pitchers very happy because there's a real danger that you could hurt yourself. So what does he do? He comes up and in. Little calling card.
And Yadier Molina immediately popped up and went out there to talk to the 22-year-old.
Right.
Here's the late time call.
See, pitchers can hurt themselves like that, particularly that loose, limber windup for a guy like Carlos Martinez. So the first pitch to Ross, don't call timeout that late. That was the message sent there.
And then Yadier Molina delivered his own message to the rookie right-hander.
Right.
Counts 2-0. 4th World Series for Yadier Molina. He was a rookie in 04, was the primary catcher in 06. 2011, now 2013. Ross flies to right. And it's a run in the 8th inning for the Red Sox on their way to a Game 1 victory here in the World Series into the 9th. 8-0 Boston. Analysis of this one. The latest on Carlos Beltran. Eric Karros is dialed in, and you'll hear from him on Fox Sports 1. Daniel Navas stays in the game. He's in left. And Ryan Dempster takes over on the mound after Tozawa got the final out in the 8th. 8-9 record this season for Dempster, but a guy who used to pitch at the back end of the bullpen for the Cubs. He delivers a strike to Matt Holliday. And while we talked about, Tim, some of the young guys getting a chance to get their feet wet in this World Series for the Cardinals, I can understand why John Farrell doesn't want to bring Uehara out of the bullpen for these Cardinals to get a look at the splitter before the game's on the line. It's an 8-0 game. Uehara's getting loose just in case, but right now it's Dempster. Holliday 1 for 3. That's strike 2.
Well, Joe, when you think about the rest of the American League, though, they've had a look at Uehara also all year long, and they can't do anything.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter whether you're facing him the first time or 10th time. The guy's unbelievable. Trevor Rosenthal, the closer for the Cardinals, who's turned in to be the closer, is so overpowering. That's why we said earlier that closers on both teams.
Here's one into left center, well hit. Back at the wall, it's gone. A home run for Holliday, and the Cardinals are on the board. It's 8-1. Third postseason home run for Matt Holliday this year. That ball was pounded into left center.
Matt putting all of his 245 pounds behind that one. with a Boston Be Strong sign in left center field. Hit a ton fastball.
Ball outside to Alan Craig. We started to go into last inning the difference between playing here in the American League Park at Fenway as opposed to in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, where there is no DH. It's a big disadvantage to the Red Sox. The team that's got the best DH in the history of the designated hitter in David Ortiz. They're constructed like a strong American League club. But David Ortiz, who played first base during interleague play this season, you either lose Ortiz or Napoli's back when this series goes to St. Louis.
And Napoli's having a red-hot postseason. 2 home runs against Detroit. We showed one of them. That was in Game 5 against Anibal Sanchez.
The other against Verlander, and he had a 3-run double tonight in the first inning.
Yeah, in that game against Verlander, it was the only run scored in the ball game. That was Game 3.
Craig pops it up. Out is Pedroia. In comes Victorino. 1 out. The batter will be Molina, who's 1 for 3.
It always has been a problem for the American League team because they lose the designated hitter after grooming one all year long. Grooming one, not only one with David Ortiz, he is, as you said, the best one.
He's been a star for the Red Sox since 2003 as Molina takes a strike. That big ALCS in 2004, a big reason why the Red Sox came back to beat the Yankees. He's homered tonight, almost had 2.
Swinging the bat like that, I would think John Farrell plays David Ortiz and sits Mike Napoli. He's just swinging the bat so well.
The Cardinals do not have a left-handed starter.
No. You know the approach you take? Hope he drives in more than he lets in.
There's John Lackey, tomorrow night's starter. Molina waits for a 2-1 pitch from Dempster. These two have seen a lot of each other. Count 2-2. Boston team that added 7 free agents. Dempster on the list, and a new manager in John Farrell, who spent 2 years in Toronto. Ben Cherington, the general manager. What a job he's done constructing this team after a last place finish last year. That's Pedroia. I like that. 2 out. Cherington got rid of over $240 million worth of contracts in the trade last year with the Dodgers. Beckett was gone. Adrian Gonzalez was gone. Carl Crawford was gone. Nick Punto thrown in. The Dodgers got to the postseason this year. The Red Sox are in the World Series, 1 out away from a Game 1 win. Strike 1 on Freese.
Yeah, the players they got in return from the Dodgers were not important. It was shedding the Red Sox of that money, freeing that money up so they could sign 7 free agents. There's John Henry, the owner, the principal owner of the Red Sox.
Tom Werner, Larry Lucchino in that front office. Now 1 strike away. Dempster, 16 years. He's been around. His first taste of the World Series. He's allowed a home run, but now he's 1 strike away from ending Game 1. One and 2. Freese 0 for 3 tonight with a pair of strikeouts. And we bounced into a bases loaded double play back in the 4th. It was a 5-0 game. At that point, it's now 8-1. 2-2. Uehara has stopped throwing for Boston out in their pen. Tomorrow night, John Lackey and Michael Walker. Veteran right-hander, the rookie right-hander. Here is a 2-2. Into right, base hit. Victorino safe as Freese just beat the throw.
By sliding. Feet first. Victorino plays a shallow right field, and with David Freese, before the series is over, he could be burned playing too shallow because Freese has great power the other way. Just safe as Freese. Better shot. Oof.
Napoli, he was ready for the throw, and safe is the call by Mark Wegner. Dempster thought the game was over. Looked like the right foot went over the bag. Safe was the call.
Maybe.
And it's the first hit of the night for Freese. Here's Adams. Strike one. Matt Adams. He's the guy that took over for Alan Craig when he went down with the injury on a permanent basis at first base. And did he deliver for the Cardinals? Again, Dempster has 2 strikes on the hitter. Ball 1 inside. Adams had a hit taken away and a diving catch by Gomes and left in the 5th. He's 0 for 3. St. Louis with 7 hits. Boston with 8 runs on 8 hits. Cardinals had played 11 postseason games coming into tonight, had committed 3 errors. They committed 3 errors here tonight in game 1. Red Sox win game 1. Dempster getting the final outs. A big night for David Ortiz, who drove home 3 and almost had his 2nd grand slam of this postseason. 8-1 is the final in a 3-hour, 17-minute game 1. Napoli with a big swing in the 1st inning, unloaded the bases with a 3-run double against Wainwright. First-year manager John Farrell giving high fives. Second-year manager Mike Matheny was watching the celebration, and he peels away and goes back into the Cardinal clubhouse. As the Red Sox are up 1-0, and down we go to Kenny Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. Dustin, John Lester tonight, 7 2/3 scoreless. What made him so good?
He was locating both sides of the plate. His cutter's so tough, and when he goes away to righties and locates the way he does, I mean, it's pretty impressive tonight.
The play in the 1st inning, the play that was overturned. What did you think when you were called out at second base?
Well, I was just trying to slide in there and try to break up 2, and kind of saw, it wasn't on the transfer. But, I mean, he calls you out. You got to run off the field, but thought they got it right.
How surprised were you that they overturned it?
I don't know. I was just sitting there with my stuff on. I mean, that, you know, they got a lot of, great umpires out here. I mean, there's a lot of them. So, they put their heads together and try to get it right. That's the best way to do things.
Last thing, Dustin. 2007 was your last World Series. How much fun is it being back?
Yeah, it's a blast. We're the last two teams playing. We played both teams that played their tails off all year long to get to this point. So you got to have fun and enjoy it and play the best you can.
Dustin, thanks a lot. Over to Aaron Andrews.
Kenny, thanks so much. Poppy, first let me ask you about the call that was overturned. We saw how it affected the Cardinals. How did it affect you guys?
Well, it was pretty obvious that it wasn't in a transfer. It seems like he missed the ball and the umpire got the right call, and we got some momentum going on.
Momentum for you at the plate tonight. A nice night, 3 RBI, a home run, almost a grand slam out there. What was the difference for you at the plate?
Nothing, just like I said before, in that one series against the Tiger, I didn't get that many hits, but I was putting some good swing on the ball, and I just stick with my plan.
What was your reaction when you saw Carlos Beltran come up with that ball back there?
We keep on playing, at least we got an RBIs, and it was a good situation. We was up by 4, and we continue the momentum.
Poppy, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, back over to you.
All right, so the celebration after Game 1 down on that field here at Fenway Park. An 8-1 final. Boston wins it. It started with this reversal of a call at second base, and then the Red Sox, like all good teams do, took advantage. And they got the performance that John Lester could have hoped for coming into Game 1. He gets the win. So does Boston. Final 8-1. Back after this.